Hey, what's up? We're in the next part. I am busy explaining what in the world is going on. In the previous part, please go check it out. I spoke about how it is that God, I was like yesterday morning, not yesterday, today, this morning, I overheard my mom on the phone with my cousin talking about how they're gonna sever, how she's going to cut Wi-Fi because she's retiring and she needs to save money. My mother always veils her nefarious activities behind necessities. Like, she will always explain away the fact that she's actually been really mean with what looks as if though it's actually good. She's quite cunning that way. So she's basically claiming that the reason she's severing Wi-Fi in the house is because of the fact that she's entering into retirement and she can't afford it. Well, very well, I would understand if all these other issues were not present. So I do not imagine that my mother would ever cut internet before making alternative arrangements for her entertainment on television. So I imagine she likely is trying to reinvest in DSTV, right? Because it would indeed likely be cheaper than router, right? However much it is that it costs more routing every month. You know, guys, when the Bible says that at the counsel of 2 or 3 witnesses a matter is established, the Lord also says that it is wise to seek out many counselors before you make decisions. Unfortunately, the counselors that my mother seeks out are unwise. They lack God's guidance. The Bible says the beginning of wisdom is fear of God. So of course the people that she's asking for advice from do not have wisdom. Plus my mother is excruciatingly spiteful against me in particular, right? She imagines that she doesn't care how I survive, everybody else I get banally their own things going. She is a narcissistic mother in the sense that she envies her own kid, so she really cannot overlook much of her own envy in favor of what makes more sense, and she tends to only do what is right after her decisions have slapped her so far upside the head and made her life so miserable that she will then finally do what is better. Okay, she, like I remember I told you guys that there was a time even when they weren't cooking, she wasn't cooking, and not that cooking was what she has to do, but they were literally preventing food. She was deliberately not buying food because I was the only one that couldn't buy takeouts in the house. And there was a day when she bought herself a sandwich and didn't buy bread in the house, and I had to eat I had to make myself like pita breads and what have you. She comes from a season like that. Well, she stopped doing that, and the reason why she stopped, I told you she would stop, because she loves her own cooking. My mother loves her own cooking, and she loves eating it for lunch at work and all that jazz. She would much rather eat her own food than even go to the best restaurants in this country, because she is indeed that good at cooking. I will not take that away from her. My mother is excellent. Like, she could have run a restaurant like easily, okay? But that's the thing, when you don't love God, you miss out on really your talents taking you to the world, like expanding you broadly to be international. My mom is really good. She has a way with seasoning, and frankly I don't even come close, and I'm good too. So maybe as time had progressed, I would have also gotten to the level of my mom, but she's really good at cooking. So because she loves her own food and it is so good, and when people eat her food they're like, ooh, you know, type thing, she could not withhold from herself the glory of praise for her food, and she could also not withhold from her own taste buds her own food. So she went back to cooking, and I predicted that. I prophesied it in the previous series that I was doing. She actually did do better. I can't call it repentance, it was more self-serving than it was, but the ramifications of her not cooking slapped her upside the head so badly. Oh, mind you, they not only slapped her upside the head badly, but they also made her sick. She got sick. In other words, her immune system took a tank. It's winter, and everybody's just getting they're just falling under various flus and what have you, right? But you know, I believe that food is medicine, and my mother's food is very high. It's rich in nutrients because she is vegetable heavy, and that food, my mom just loved to guzzle it down her throat. You can't then go from having a diet where your body is being fed all the nutrients it needs, and so it's fighting off disease, it's fighting illness, and then suddenly just go into eating like ham and cheese, and chicken and mayo in the office, like just starch and some protein and very barely any vitamin C, very barely any magnesium, any calcium, like the plethora of nutrients that you would be getting from a balanced diet. Similarly too, she also used to buy muesli. She had stopped for a season, she started buying it again, and muesli is very high in fiber. It's got lots of these antioxidants with these little berries and fruits that are in it. That was the diet of my mother, and she went from eating that to, like, she She's also old and she doesn't work out. She went to eat from eating that to suddenly these like random sandwiches that she was trying to punish me concerning. And while every winter gives her the sniffles and she's always buying flu meds, like what do you call this, like flu cough syrup. She's always buying like cough syrup. It's always around, the Vixie for her chest. She's also asthmatic, so yeah, she's always got like a medicine drawer cabinet that's teeming at the folds with product. Okay. But barely ever does my mother get to the point of almost hospitalization or having to even see a doctor, because for whatever reason she's always healthy enough for her body to fight it off on her own. Drink a bit of Corenza C, take 1 grandpa for a headache, take 1 teaspoon of cough syrup, and you're good to go. So she's self-medicated with over-the-counter stuff, and she's never had to go to the hospital. This time around, because of 3 weeks of insanity, she got so sick that she was basically groveling on the floor, unable to pick her body up off it. I had to be the one to take her to the clinic. I sat there for hours on end. I got her prescription. She was immobile, using my own car because my sister used hers to go to work one day. And that day, that's when I got over myself because I was all upset. And I took care of my mom. Literally nursed her right back to health again. And she was vomiting like no man's business. She had bronchitis. That the kind that you are also, because the bacteria is now also teeming at the folds in your belly, your food can't stay down, so you keep on vomiting. I don't believe in taking meds in order to overcome vomiting because it just makes life worse. For me, I believe anyway, it's like how you gonna bring these chemicals into your system and hope that you don't continue to vomit. She was sick, unable to sleep, the kind of sickness that frankly you feel listless, like there's no living, there's no sleeping through it because it's so painful. She was in that state. And I remember even asking her, why in the world did you wait this long to ask to go to the doctor? She was like, I never thought it would graduate to this poor level this quickly. Like it just ramped up. This is something that could have killed my mom. But thank God, nothing of that nature came to pass. Finally drove her to the clinic, whatnot, to the Medicross down here, go to report, blah, 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 etc. Everything was done. I was there, guys. We were like 5 hours younger. That's the kind of stuff that I do for my mom. She was the one that was being catered to, and I was the one sitting around in a hot car, getting sunburn, waiting for her, doing rounds, grabbing the medication at the discount, all that jazz. Yeah, okay. Maka, lack of appreciation. Anyway, whatever. My mother got like violently sick by the time she came back from the clinic, the hospital, whatever you call that place, that medical center. Once she came back, okay, still, no matter, like, they put her on a drip. Hoping to infuse nutrients into her body because everything she was eating, she was also vomiting, and also to put medicine, the beginning sort of kind of booster of medicine into her body. She was supposed to feel better after the drip, and nothing. She was still all nauseous. She was still all bilious. She was still all vomity. She was still all listless, unable to move. Like she was just a blob, guys. She could not move. Guys, Koloi that was used is a vehicle that just a couple of months ago was sitting stranded here going nowhere, and it was because of donations that my vehicle got serviced. So there would have been no car. But God fixed my car, and my mother benefited from that. People go take advantage of disciple till the restrainer is removed and you realize just how beneficial we were. Anyway, whatever, cool, moving on. When she came back home, when we got back home eventually, and I was still doing the rounds, buying whatever she wanted, because me, I believe that food is medicine. Because me, I am more natural than I am about pharmaceuticals industry that I don't trust for a bar of soap. I don't believe in them because I feel like they should be curing us, but they are treating. Because me, I study a lot and I'm always drinking funny drink in order for me to go and be alright. I'm always eating cinnamon and eating fenugreek and hemp seed powder. Oh, look at me, I don't go sick, not even a sniffle in winter. I don't get sick. I've been in this position for years and I don't get sick. And I believe that diet has everything to do with it. It used to also be diet and exercise, but recently I've stopped working out because I'm under a lot of attack. But nonetheless, I am as healthy comes. Do you understand? For someone with the level of stress and living conditions that I have, I should be coughing every winter. I should be sneezing it up a storm. I should be releasing a whole bunch of mucus from my mucus membranes. I should have hair falling out. Instead, I am at the pink of health. And if at all the person does not know my story, they wouldn't know I'm suffering. And I attribute that to food. I attribute that to the drinks that I take. I attribute that to linseed powder. You never know that these things are working for you until you're the only person in a household full of people that have got a contagion that is airborne and you don't get sick. You then know that indeed food is medicine, and that's how God has always intended it. But it has to be a balanced diet. You can't just like lambaste your face and that's all you're eating. You can't just lambaste yourself with just pap, like a whole bunch of starch, like, you know, having pasta and rice on the same plate, because that's what we do in Africa. We put pasta on the same plate as rice because we are making a pasta salad. Yeah, you can't just have that. You literally have to have those 7 colors. Indeed, we got that right as well in the Black community. My mom got that seven colors game down. Do you understand? Veggies on fire, vitamin C, of which is very, very important for rebuilding, you know, scar tissue. Therefore, it is also very healing, etc. We all know that if we're going through a lot, vitamin C is the thing. Citrus fruits are especially beneficial to you when you have got just, you know, like flu-y symptoms. To avoid, you better just eat your fruit, because indeed, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I know I just sounded so corny and cliche, but it's true. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. My mother was eating more than enough apples a day. My mom not only stopped by, guys, let me explain what's going on to you, okay? My mom not only stopped buying, like, you know, cabbage and carrots and whatnot for cooking, but she also, my mom is like, I personally struggle to eat fruit, and I told you guys that that's the thing. I have to blend fruit every once a week to force myself to drink it in juiced form before it goes off. That's how I force fruit into my body, because I would much rather eat chocolate cake than a fruit. I don't have discipline. It's not that I hate them, I just find them boring to eat. My mom, however, big fan, huge fan. The banana, when they are packed, on the whatever thing, like even this banana is in here because I'm trying to force myself to one day eat it, okay? And I'm waiting for it to turn yellow, because right now it's currently green. That's what's good. But my mom, if there are bananas in the like fruit bowl, they will be gone in like a day. You but that's a whole bunch of bananas. How you gonna be eating bananas we want and type thing? My mom's like that. The fruit in the house that she buys every single week, they again more than even my little sister. My mother is a massive fanatic of a fruit, and precisely because my grandmother raised her that way. When I was growing up with my grandmother, she used to buy the water, like summer there would be a watermelon season, and we used to look so forward to that. My grandmother was just a massive advocate of fruit. She used to make her own canned peaches. Like, we ate fruit bountifully in my grandmother's household, and that is a habit that was instilled in my mom by my grandmother. So fruit have always just been very beloved in my grandmother's family, including my mom, of course. She's her daughter, right? Type establishment thing. So my mama loves her fruit. Every day she will have at least 4 portions of fruit. So that's vitamin C on fleek. And her favorite is orangey. Her favorite is apple, her favorite is banana, right? These very boring fruit, my mom is a big fat fan of them. Apple, orange, and banana. Every so often, maybe she'll get all, like, what do you call this thing? Luxurious and exotic, and maybe buy like a pomegranate, but for the better part of the time, or a kiwi, it's always just orange, banana, peach. She also loves peaches type thing. So peach, orange, banana, and I mentioned apple. Yeah, peach, orange, banana, apple, those are fruits that you will find kontlung, and my mom is the one that depletes them. Do you understand? Because she has enough portions of these fruits every single day. So she stopped buying fruit because she noticed that I was blending them in the blender, making my fruit drink, because I'm forcing myself to eat fruit in a way that she doesn't have to force herself. She stopped buying fruit. She also stopped cooking the carrots, the tapule veggies, you know, the dinner that we would eat, full of tomato, chakalaka, that is very heavy in carrots, peas, and whatnot. That's the dinner plate. During the day, she'd be out in these streets consuming fruit. Alright, that was her diet. Anyway, she was eating that like that. So my mom has got a very healthy diet. And my mom is not a big fan of sugar. She also cuts sugar out. No, she used to sort of, like, she had to, because she didn't want to get diabetes because it runs in the family. So she went for sugar alternatives. So yeah, she's better than me in that regard, because me, I'm a sugar girl. Like, what? Maybe that's why I got all this acne. Anyway, whatever. So my mom, not much sugar. She adores and has for the longest time peanut butter. Like, can't nobody separate my mom from peanut butter. Like, all these things that are just rich in nutrients, and she does not necessarily think of them being rich in nutrients. It's just her diet. Do you understand? But it's healthy. It's healthy, and that's why I'm looking like this. I'm also healthy because, you know, I eat what they eat type thing. I'm glad that I live in a household that cares to cook foods that are actually quite healthy. My mom was also quite a massive fan at some point of beetroot, but she stopped making it because I complained that stop adding vinegar to it because then you're messing with our teeth. But then she wanted it with vinegar, so we could not come to an agreement. I wasn't eating it. It was staying too much in the fridge, so she stopped making it. But I was like, otherwise it's a really good superfood. Don't add vinegar. Just, cook it without the vinegar. And she was like, I want to, but I'm like, I don't want my teeth to rot. Anyway, can cat, man. Hey, what's up? Black people make beetroot with vinegar, and I just don't get that. And while a food that has got vinegar in it, like the cheaply beetroot, is okay once in a while, it's not going to mess with your teeth. When you're having it every day, and that's how my mom cooks all for the whole week, it's eventually going to get to a point where your teeth are now browning, they're eroding, because those acids are literally doing away with them. So I was like, if you're going to make but like beetroot every single week, I would be happy to eat it. It's a superfood. It's heavy in antioxidants. It's rich, right? I love it. Like, yeah, but like, you gotta take the vinegar out. But she didn't want to take it, so that was taken off the plate. But that's the kind of dinner lifestyle that my mom has had pretty much all her life. She's very also heavily experimental with different foods, like brinjal. She will just do all these weird foods. And my mom's cabbage, you guys, cabbage is not a fanfare filled veggie until you eat my mom's. Like, I promise you, this woman could have run a restaurant. Like, hey, anyway, whatever. So that's the kind of dinner that my mom be eating, and breakfast, etc. A lot of fruit, lots of vegetables, superfoods on fire, adores peanut butter, so she got those nuts in. She loves like fruity jam. Like, her diet is healthy. That's what I'm getting at. Orata muesli, plain yogurt instead of like sugar-fied yogurt, and it's got its own benefits. Probiotics on fire. There are so many things that the diet that my mom had packs in a way that she just didn't quite understand what it was doing for her. And she seized all these things in favor of just a chicken mayo sandwich at the office, just a ham sandwich in the office, just a, like, whoa. I still continue to drink my drinks because that's where I got my nutrients, right? But I was not getting all the other nutrients that I was getting in through the fruit, the veggies that were in there, because I was eating whatever was now no longer available. No more muesli, nothing. But I was still kicking it and killing it, because like, that drink of mine packs a power. That drink of mine packs a power. The one that I have once a day with linseed and hemp seed powder, whatnot, I was still getting my nutrients. She wasn't. And she got sick. She did this thing for like 2 to 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. There's like food strike, hunger strike, whatever you want to call it. It knocked her to the ground. It so compromised her immune system. And she dared to do this at the beginning of winter, when you are exposed to all these pathogenic human beings coughing it up a storm all over the show. She got so sick. And it's sick in a way that she hasn't been. Guys, I'm tempted to say ever. I've never seen my mom unable to walk. Literally wanting rather to crawl on the floor instead of walk. And guys, I'm going to like lying on a dirty, my car is so dirty on the outside, it ain't clean. She was literally lying on there while she was waiting for me to come and take her to the clinic. I was like, ultimately the doctor diagnosed her with bronchitis. She would have died if she didn't get it dealt with. Everybody knows bronchitis kills, like pneumonia. It kills, okay? My mother had bronchitis, and it magnified, it accelerated in severity overnight, because the night before, she told herself, I'll go to the doctor eventually. She thought it was nothing. And by the time the morning came, she was basically almost go inside a casket, guys. She nearly, one day more, my mother would have likely had to be hospitalized and frankly put on a ventilator. Like, it was that bad. And I remember when we got back from the clinic, the medical center, she was still saying, funny. I'm still feeling terrible. I don't know what to do. The drip didn't work. And I was like, I believe, I understand that you are like totally pro medicine, and so am I. I'm not like out in these streets living in the bundus, refusing to let a needle come near me. I'm not even anti-vax. I just don't like the current one that's been rolled out. I'm pro medicine, like entirely, but I do believe that prevention is better than cure, and the best way to prevent lots of diseases and to keep yourself healthy and to also get better once you're sick is food. I thoroughly believe that food can just eradicate a plethora of issues, and I kept telling my mom, the only way out of this is for you to eat. Because the food that she was eating kept on getting out, leaving her body. And for me, it was like, I know that it's hard to eat because everything comes back out again. But first of all, you can't take meds on an empty stomach. And that vomiting pill is not going to help you if at all you don't eat. You have to force food into your system, and it has to be a particular kind of food. Because even if you do vomit, there will be some that stays in your body and it will go to work. There will be some food that stays in your body and it will go to work. I told her she needs to eat, and not just anything. So I prepared for her dinner, the food she cooked, she had cooked. Thank God she had made a decision to cook that weekend, because she was starting to miss her food. But not cooking for as long as she did messed her up. Do you understand? So I put the food that she had made on a plate, and I try to tell her eat it, especially these tomatoes, chakalaka ena, cabbage. Bring it in. Bring as much vitamin C in. I chopped up banana and tangerine, orange. I chopped up an orange, and I put like a whole bunch of orange like slices and whatnot in there. I also put baby sang this thing. I wanted her to eat something super red. When she was at the clinic, she wanted a little bit something to, that's edible, just in case food will stay down, and she wanted something sweet. So I bought her a favorite chocolate lunch bar, but I also got her cranberry juice. Cranberry juice, and I'm like, that's what you need. You need something that has high in flavonoids, high in what do they call them? Flavonoids, phytochemicals, thank you. You need something that's high in vitamin C. You need something that is going to start repairing whatever's going on inside your gut. You need something that's going to go to work. So even like a mild probiotic through something kind of vinegary, or like milk. But I imagine that she would feel bilious at the sight of yogurt, but she needed like probiotics in her body to deal with her gut health. Indeed, the doctor did provide for her something that is a probiotic of sorts, but I wanted her to eat one. Do you understand? That is foodie in its nature, and consume vitamin C, right? So I put that food on her plate she was struggling to eat, and whatnot. And then, because I wanted her to eat something that is very high in antioxidants and immediately going to just start going to work with in her body, I took my precious hibiscus tea, right? Because she rejected the cranberry juice. I took my hibiscus tea because it's so expensive, and I just didn't want to keep on using tea bags. I didn't want to use my tea bag for her, but I was like, my hibiscus, and I explained to her, I want you to eat something very rich in color, so that you can bring certain nutrients into your body that are just not going to come in through like regular cabbage or whatever. I want you to consume a superfood. I want to beetroot, I want strawberries and cherries, but I try to get you to drink cranberry juice. You wouldn't. Well, here is a superfood here, hibiscus. Like, drink this tea. And I only put 1 teaspoon of it. I don't know if she drank it, but like, these are the kinds of things that I was helping my mother concerning. And I told her the only way out is to consume all this stuff. And she was like, okay. Wow, like, when you're eating while sleeping because life is rough and you're vomiting all over the show by evening. After she took my advice, and on top of that, I told her that with her medicine, when she does finally take it, she couldn't even take her meds straight away, by the way, because she would have vomited them. By the time it was time for her to take her meds, I advised her to crush the antibiotic and eat it that way and take it that way, so that should she vomit, much of the antibiotic has already started to go to work. Instead of you vomiting all of it back out, let some of it start to work on you. You know what I mean? And the probiotic that she had to take after an hour, etc., that the doctor told her, all these like ounces of counsel that I was giving my mom, she took them, and by the time evening came, she was walking around. She was walking, you guys. She was walking. So essentially the medicine that the doctor gave her was not what started to work, because the only time she could take an antibiotic was when the food stayed. And so after feeding her, she finally started to feel better. This is the kind of benefit that I am to my mom. But never mind the benefit that I am. Bottom line is her own insistence on hurting me, Gadijo, trying to pretend like there's not enough to go around and making my life a living nightmare, saying, it hurt her. She stopped buying fruit. She stopped buying cooking veggies and whatnot. And her system took a tank. Her system took a tank in a matter of weeks. She got made more susceptible to pathogens in the sky, and she contracted bronchitis. She likely also got bronchitis from somebody that particular pathogen only gave them a flu or a slight sneeze or just a mild cough. But in her, it kept calamitized her whole system, and she was mown to the ground. And I remember thinking, you're too old to be taking these risks with your health. And right now, this is also God's judgment on you. That's what's good. Now, after that whole thing, she still was feeling in some kind of way. I had to be the one to counsel her concerning what do you call this thing, the probiotics, that she had to keep on taking them for gut health so she can feel better. And she couldn't understand after like a day of starting to walk around now to a point where she could even drive, why she was still feeling funny. And I was like, that's just what flus do. Like, they weaken you, but if you keep eating, you're gonna find yourself restored again. Guess what happened? Ever since that sickness, ever since it mowed her to the ground like a steamroller, she has gone back to purchasing all the fruit that she used to buy on the weekly, and she's not even taking a risk anymore to try and get at me, because it mowed her to the ground and laid her flat. The counsel I gave her, she realized that's the reason why she got sick, because she stopped eating nutrients. And so now she's cooking. Right now, as I speak to you guys, if she tries to come at Karabo, so now she's on a different strategy. Now she's trying to come at the Wi-Fi. So you recover. I got so angry when after she recovered, she made me a servant all over again, with my little sister being around, little sister of which Naseyo the whole time Nakula, my older sister, no one came here to see her. I was the only one taking care of her. And then she literally threw in my face all the service that I gave her. Now that she was bouncing up and down like a beach ball on the floor, restored to the pink of health. I got all upset and I told them, you know what, next time you need help, you gotta pay me, because I was not even gonna ask for a refund, not a refund, but for you to pay for me, because I was taking care of my own mom. But right now you're treating me like a servant. So I got so upset, and she got so irritated at my email where I was complaining that you've made me a servant after I have just so lovingly restored you back to health again now that you're healthy, and you're still making me the thing that is running after your little child, doing everything that she is supposed to be doing. Because she got so upset at that email of me lamenting, she then made a decision that I'm even going to cut Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is what's making you think that you can talk to me like that. Except I didn't even talk to her in any kind of way. All I did was say, I don't want to feel used anymore by you, because as soon as you recover, you treat me like rubbish and make me the servant of your little girl. So I'm not doing this anymore. Next time you need help, you have to pay me up front. I was bluffing. I didn't expect her to call my bluff. She did. She gave me $200, which I wasn't expecting her to give me, and basically confirmed that, fine, you're going to be my domestic servant, but when I need help, I'll pay you for those services. However, she's cutting my supply of internet. So, like, that's when she made the decision. I'm like, yo, Musari Doe, can you be more defeatist? I nursed you right back to health, and now that you have knowledge and understanding as to why you even fell sick in the first place, you're careful now not to make yourself sick again. You're eating right again. You're eating your fruit. You're eating your vegetables, because you saw that they worked on you. Indeed, after a couple of days, I told her what's important for her to feel better again is vitamin C. She needs to bring in as many citrus fruits into her body as she possibly can. She did exactly that, took my counsel, and now she's so good that she can tell her again on the phone with my cousin and speak about me like I'm nobody, and plot and scheme with my little sister at my expense. In just a couple of days from the time that I took care of her dying body that has not been restored to the pink of health. That's just the wicked for you, gawking, staring longingly, lovingly, and unimaginatively into your sorrowful state, and they just continue to perform these abominations and think that God is not going to ultimately handle them. So my mom now is just on this other random strange mission to go back to the drawing board and see what else she can use against me, since she can't use food, given that if she uses food, she ends up kind of suffocating on the floor, groveling, having been capitulated to the sorrow of a dying body, because that's what we're all born with, dead bodies, by bronchitis. Because she doesn't want bronchitis again, because she saw what it did to her, she's telling herself protect her by eating all the phytochemicals and all the vitamin C and all the minerals that she needs, making sure that she's in the pink of health. But I know something that's not going to make me sick, except guess what? It has started to make her sick. Next part.